What's up, everyone? Kaiju no Kami here with
Squeaky Krolika Kane. Hello, everyone.
And we're here to talk about Ultraman Decker, episodes 18, 19, and 20.
Yes, and as you can hear by my lovely congested voice, I've been sick. The two of us have lovingly come down with multiple sicknesses. Him, a pretty hefty flu a few weeks back, the week of Thanksgiving. And then me, for the last week, I've had COVID. Woohoo! Third time!
Whatever. Anyway, Ultraman Decker. First, we've got the two-parter with the pool.
First episode is called Invitation from Another Dimension.
Where the pool teams up with Agams. And
there's no E.
Pretty much he just captures Kanata.
Now, I always like the Yapul anytime I've seen them, which for me, it comparatively to you is fairly infrequent.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the weirdness of the character. They're just very odd.
Yes.
Well, I mean with like their motions and everything.
Well, this has been the first time since Ace that they've actually used their pre-physical form.
Pre-physical?
Well, because in Ace you just saw the Yapul as like these weird wavy beings.
Yeah.
And then when they became a physical form, they were a regular creature, and that's what's been used until this episode.
Okay. Yeah, I remember seeing clips of them before, so that's the only thing I could reference, but I thought this was a pretty good episode. We actually watched this episode last week, depending on when you're watching the YouTube video, but so it's not as fresh in my mind as 19 and 20, but I enjoyed it just because it played around with some intrigue as well, because first Kanata gets captured by Agams, like pulled away from the rest of the team, and he's still Kanata is still very impassioned and focused on wanting to save Agams.
Based on what Decker told him.
Based on what Decker told him. And I think also based on, because it leads into the next episode, but him seeing what happened with Kengo and Ultrek's girlfriend. So, and then... Well, moving on in the episode, we then have Ultraman, we have Ultra Decker getting into a fight
with the monster, who they say, it's more terrible than a monster. It's a terrible monster.
Now, okay, there is such a thing from when we were watching the episode. I remember this because when we're watching the episode, and they literally say in it, it's more terrible than a monster. You say, it's a terrible monster. And literally, that's the exact next line in the episode. And you're not shocked because I'm guessing this is not the first terrible monster.
Well, no, they were the monsters in Ace. It's just in Ace they translated it as super beasts.
So they translated it into a Rob Zombie song?
Yes.
Okay, next time I see that monster, I am playing Super Beast.
I did that in my review.
Oh yeah, you did.
But yes, the Chujo was translated as Super Beast in the Ace Blu-rays, but then he was translated as Terrible Monster.
Well, I was going to say Toei, but this is not Toei. Subaraya wanted to translate it differently.
But, so we have him fight a terrible monster. And then he thinks Agams has been injured, but it turns out it's the Yapuo in disguise who transports him into the alternate dimension.
Well, okay, can I just say, all I thought of when the Yapuo grabs Decker, all I thought of was like an 80s cartoon show where you thought I was someone else, and then the villain just kind of like takes off its mask to reveal the villain. And it felt so like 80s cartoonish for me.
Oh, I was thinking of Spaceballs. Fooled you!
Well, and that's exactly it. I'm like, this is such an American thing.
And then, so, it ends with Decker being pulled into the alternate dimension. So our next episode starts off with a quick
resolution. Like I am sorry. He is like a 13-year-old boy. The quickest resolution
The recap was longer than the resolution. Because all it does is, he sends him out into space, and then Sphere just envelopes him. And then Trigger just shows up. Like, okay?
Well, and can I ask the question, is this Sphere barrier made of Swiss cheese? Because based on the end of the episode as well, not to like skip around, but first the Yapool can throw him through a dimension where he gets into space. Then at the end of the episode, I'm just going to skip everything real quick, he goes back into Earth and is able to get through the barrier that apparently you can't get through?
Well, the Yapool travel through dimensions.
Okay, that's fine, but how about the end of the episode?
What do you mean?
He went back to Earth.
Oh, you mean Decker?
Yes.
He used Kanata's card that lets him go through.
Oh.
That Kanata had used.
Oh,
or
that
not
had
Kanata.
like the symbol Kengo.
Not Kanata.
Kengo.
Kengo,
yes.
That Kengo and Akito had come back earlier in the season. They used that card to transfer.
Oh, yes. Now I remember. Okay. I'm just like, is there Swiss cheese here or something? Because...
No, that's the plot of the show.
Well, that I know, but anyway, so
they go to the moon base where you see remains of other previous Ultra creatures, and they don't really... Sphere doesn't really do much on this moon base. It's apparently their secret base.
But apparently, when Sphere attaches itself to something, as we saw what happened to Kendo, but it didn't succeed, is the spheres are taking away memories of the individual. Because think of the Yapool. Because the Yapool got barraged by Sphere. And it was almost turning into like the invasion of the body snatchers, where it was mixing and merging until the Yapool didn't exist anymore.
I did like that we had Trigger and Decker in human size when they're fighting those foot soldiers.
I actually, that's the one thing I really do like that they've been trying to do, is have them human size, because I actually enjoy the human size fights sometimes, because I understand it's giant. The point of Ultraman is to be a giant of light. So I understand, compared to like Kamen Rider or Sentai, you're not going to have those human-sized fights in costume. But it is so cool when it happens, because you get to kind of play around with the camera work a little bit differently than when you have to play around with it and have the miniatures work with it. So I actually enjoy it. It does make me wonder, though, do they have to follow the same rules as Zets, where they're in human form, they can only do it for like a quarter of the time?
Don't know.
It just made me think of Zet when I was watching the episode, seeing them both fight.
Well, it made me think of Tiga and...
Well, it made me think of many better series than what we've been watching.
But yeah, so then one of the Galactrons from Orb and Jeed show up, and they fight that thing.
And then we see Ultra Dynamic Decker. So, new toy, new card, new toy.
New cards.
Oh yes, new cards. There's a whole bunch of new cards. I can't say I was like wowed by the dynamic form.
I don't remember it really. I just remember
It was there, but it didn't like stand out because that's the one challenge with like these last two series. Actually, probably the last three series is when they do new forms. It's a color swatch change. And yeah, I know Orb did it, G did it, Rube did it, so many other series did it, but I don't know why, but it fit with how they were doing the story progression for them. Like with Orb, you had Orb and G specifically, if you think about that, you had you go, I go, we go, and you kind of had like the cut and paste where it worked with it. But for these, it kind of feels like they're really just trying to cram it all in. I think the only difference is you're not calling on past Ultras to create this form.
I was thinking about this when we were watching, like, man, if you were to cut out all the toy commercials of them with the cards and the little swords and everything of Kengo and Kanata, the episodes would be like 15 minutes long.
Well, these last two episodes are a really good example of too much sales and not a lot of story.
Now, the one thing I did like is when they were asking Hanajiro, oh, where's Kanata? Oh, he's in the infirmary. But they're all so stupid.
Except, okay.
But first we have just like, oh, he's in the infirmary. Yes, he's injured. Oh my God. He said, don't worry. Don't go visit him. Like, did no one even knew he went to the infirmary until this scene? Like, what?
Well, and how
stupid
in my mind,
are these people?
So in my mind of a reality, and maybe this is an alternate reality that I exist alone in, I would think in an infirmary, you're going to have medical personnel. So somebody responsible for taking care of anyone who is injured. So you're telling me that
Kengo was submitted to
Kanata, not Kengo. That he went to the infirmary and nobody knew?
Nobody checked him in. Nobody checked him out. And
that somehow he can only talk to Hanajiro. And so the captain is like, he's lying when he's talking about Hanajiro. And he's like, he just doesn't want us to worry about him. And then he looks at Hanajiro and winks. So it makes you think that maybe somebody has added 2 + 2 = 8. I wonder. I'm not entirely sure. But it kind of makes me think somebody is aware. So that was kind of funny. And then later on in the episode, Ryuman, you see him coming in from the infirmary. I was there, and he wasn't there. And Hanajiro is like trying to figure out a way to like get himself. And then they go to Kanata's room, and he's lying in bed. And I am just like, if he was in the infirmary and now he's in his own personal room, once again, maybe there's something different in Japan than in America, but anytime I've been to an infirmary, there has been somebody who's a responsible adult there. And I mean responsible adult beyond my lame ass of saying, I'm okay, and then going to work for 12 hours, which I clearly do, even when I have COVID, because I'm pathetic.
But yeah, that was just, like, dumb. They were an okay pair of episodes. They weren't the worst, but...
Now, the next episode...
Lord Ragon,
that episode actually had story. And it was more story than Ultra. So, basically, what had happened is some kind of earthquake occurred, and there was a rock slide that blocked out something. And you have the Alms Arc, which is this, like...
rock formation
that is kind of part of the community. And it's blocked out the view of the ocean, apparently. Long ago. And apparently this group of industrialists, so to speak, they plan on removing everything. So basically we find out that there's the mythos, being very Japanese culture, that they had a town god called Ragon, who you mentioned was part of Ultra Q.
Yep.
One of their monsters. Now, the problem I have with this episode has nothing to do with the story, has nothing to do with anything. I hate the sound of squishy. It's of moist squishiness. Yeah, it's disgusting. I even hate the word moist because it's so... I really do. I hate the word moist. I don't know why. But all throughout the episode, all I'm hearing is wet squishing. And I'm like, that was the most disgusting thing. And then when they're investigating, and we have Ichiga and the vice captain. And they're the ones that are investigating what is going on. And everywhere they go, there's this viscous mucus. And that's the one thing I hate about being sick, is because I hate viscous goo. I never even liked slime as a kid. The coolest thing for all kids is slime.
Because you never had GAC.
Oh, I had GAC and I got rid of it really quickly. Because it... But anyways, I preferred Play-Doh because it was more structured. But anyways, so they were... and they were getting their faces right into it. The mucus would be right here, and their face would be right there. I have to look at it as closely as humanly possible, to the point where my nose is going to touch this. And so, okay, enough about my idiosyncrasies.
Right, so the episode as a Ragon is going around sticking all this slime onto construction workers' faces.
Not hurting anyone.
Just and then they go and investigate, and they meet this old lady who apparently made friends with the Ragon when she was a kid, and it was sent away, and she's getting revenge for them wanting to get rid of this arc, and a real Ragon comes out. What I liked, this was kind of what... Well, I guess this would be the closest thing we'd ever get to a horror episode in this show.
Oh, yes. This was the closest. This wasn't even horror. This was just charming Miyazaki.
But it had weird camera angles. I've been wanting to see all series, which was cool. Especially like when they cut to Hanajiro and it would be just camera position below him. So he's looking kind of distorted because they have kind of the filters kind of rounded, it looks like.
Well, I also liked when they were going into the elder woman's memories and the color filtering was off. Like, it was faded. And I liked the kind of the play of the character because you have the actual Ragon, who's human size, in parts of the episode, and then you have the old woman who is playing the Ragon, and that play was interesting. And then I liked the fact that you have the two women there. You have Ichigo, who's younger, who's probably about 20, 21, like late teens, early 20s, that range. And then you have the captain, who is in her late 20s, early 30s. And the old woman keeps on saying, multiple times throughout the episode, oh, the Ragon really only likes young, beautiful, pure-hearted women. And she keeps on saying it blatantly towards the younger girl, making the vice captain feel like an old hag. And, like, she says it she says it overall about 4 times, but in 2 separate instances. And the second time when she does it, like, in the later part of the episode, and the vice captain just glares at her like, you know what? But I like the camera angles, even when you have the fight between the Ragon and Decker, and you actually see everybody still on the ground, so you have that forced perspective. And then
and they're just rolling around.
And then when the Ragon pushes Decker into the water, in a way, and you see Decker, like, just floating down into the ether. I thought that was cool. And then the other really cool camera angle I liked also was when Ichigo is trying to save the child form of the older woman, and they're trying to get out, and you see the hand of Decker coming in and grabbing them.
Well, I also laugh when they put in some H.P. Lovecraft mythos in there. Oh, he's part of he's part of the race of the old one, the deep ones, who are the old ones with their Lord Dagon.
Well, they reference mythology in the Pacific with the mermaid, and they did the actual mermaid. So a lot of people really mistake the mermaid for what we see for, like, The Little Mermaid or Peter Pan, when you have mermaids in that movie. And mermaids in mythology were nothing like that. They were very grotesque. Because, yes, they had like a portion of their body that was human, but their appearance was still very reptilian or fish-like and things like that. They weren't what you've seen in, like, modern pop culture. So it was kind of nice for them to reference that. And it was interesting when they referenced the biblical aspects of, like, the creatures and everything like that. Like, just adding so much mythology for a character that they really only did this mythology in, like, 2 minutes.
They had more backstory than all of Decker's characters have in 20 episodes.
Shit! I was like, in 2 minutes, we're giving an entire history of a character.
But yeah, I liked the episode for the most part.
Well, this episode it kind of reminded me of, like, a classic Ultraman episode.
Well, that's why I say, because it had the weird camera angles. Some of the lighting was distorted. You had the filters. It was, like I said, what I've been waiting all series to basically see. It wasn't straight up horror, but it was at least weird. A weird episode.
Well, yeah, and that's And that's why I will say I appreciated about whenever I did see any episodes from Classic Ultraman. I haven't watched as many full-length series of Classic Ultraman as he has. So I can't speak to them completely. But when I've watched episodes while he was watching a series, or when I pop on Toku Shoutsu, please give us credit for that, Toku. Or Shout Factory, I mean. But when I pop on the channel and I'll see like an Ultraman episode, it's always Classic Ultraman. And I always pop onto an episode that is just weird. It's never like happy-go-lucky or anything. I'm like, can I ever just watch an Ultraman episode that maybe has like a very happy experience? But no. Murder and mayhem galore.
But I think that's really all I have at this point.
Well, yeah,
We've got, I think, 5 episodes left of the series.
5 episodes left. It was nice to see Kengo again, because as much as I was frustrated about Trigger...
Or when he did Smile.
I actually think the actor for Kengo is doing a much better job here than in his own series. It feels like he either feels more comfortable with his acting,
or it's just a better writer.
Or it's just better writing, that's what I was going to say. Because he's definitely doing a more enjoyable job. So, overall, Decker is better than Trigger, but...
Still not quite there.
And then, what's the next Ultra series?
Apparently going to be Next Generation Gaia, because who needs originality anymore? I think no, what was the name I saw online? Gattaker? No, Gatter. I don't know.
Godanner?
No, not Godanner.
That would be so cool. Then you'd see busty ass people around. But honey, I hate to...
Gazer. That's what it was, Gazer.
But honey, can I just tell you a very little known secret? There is no originality anymore because everybody is referencing something from something else.
Don Brothers.
Okay.
Don Brothers. Tokusatsu ga ga ga.
Tokusatsu ga 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 was just ripping off our real lives. Are you telling me that we don't live the life of Tokusatsu ga ga ga? I can guarantee you, I live her life. I have to work a regular office job, hide my entire crazy obsessions with Tokusatsu, with anime and everything, and then it's when I get home, which I work from home, so it's when I leave my office, I can have my enjoyment.
Except your office is the library, manga room, studio.
I try not to stay in there very long.
So it's not like it's truly a dark, depressing place of nothingness.
Okay, we have our office is one little angle of dark, depressing work, and then the
that has all your posters on it.
Because I need something to enlighten me. I need something to make the darkness better.
You turn your chair around and there's comics, there's manga, there's all my books.
I never turn my chair around.
Well, that's your own fault.
But okay, nevertheless, thank you very much again for watching. You can follow Kaiju Okami. What?
Click like, subscribe, the bell notification, that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, click like, subscribe, the bell notification. Also, turn on any notifications if you'd like to be reminded of any of our videos. And please do share videos with others so that they can find us if you don't already do so. I still can't believe that we're past 7,000 subscribers, so that's super, super awesome. Always with all of your support, so thank you very much.
We're at like 7,092 right now.
That's so awesome. Someday we'll be over 9,000. But You can also follow us on Patreon, Twitter. I think you're still allowed on Twitter, right?
I haven't been banned yet.
Facebook.
But they haven't given me my blue check mark, so I just have a blue check mark goes here or something in my title.
Well, you can follow us on Patreon, Twitter. I was about to say DeviantArt, but that's not you. Discord, Instagram, and wherever else you can search for Kaiju Okami. You can also check out our website at creativitybydesignllc.com. And if you want to check out some interesting merchandise that we have, go to creativitybydesignllc.com/shop. You can also find a link in the description below.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm stealing all this work. I am Curlica Kane. This is Kaiju Okami. See you later. Bye.
What were you just about to say?
Curlica Kane.
Hi, this is Curlica Kane and Curlica Kane. Wow, that'd be kind of weird.
Yeah, that'd be a little creepy.
But whatever. Yes, until next time.